What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. Today we're going to be reacting to the top 5 British stereotypes that are probably true. Every country has its fair share of stereotypes. Some of those stereotypes are completely true, others are kind of half-truths, but as a whole, if a stereotype exists, then there has to be some sort of truth to it, because if there was no truth to it, then the stereotype wouldn't exist in the first place. But anyways, guys, I came across this video and I thought this would be a really interesting one to check out. I realized that I really can't think of many British stereotypes off the top of my head. If I tried really hard, I guess I would say that one British stereotype is the fact that British people love football and British people love rugby. I think another British stereotype that comes to mind is British people seem to be really good at music. Maybe that's because there's been so many bands, so many great bands over the years that have come out of the UK. But anyways, guys, I really don't know what to expect from this list. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's check out the top 5 British stereotypes that are probably true.
Some cultural cliches are there for a reason.
Leave this to me. I'm British. I know how to kill.
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 5 British stereotypes that are probably true, maybe. For this list, we're assessing popular and possibly overused British stereotypes that, nevertheless, are usually completely true, as much as we try to deny it. So, let's get started and see if you're guilty of any of these. Number 5. Foreign languages.
Mongelese Tuzefan.
What does that mean?
It means why put bay windows on a shithouse?
English is one of the most commonly spoken languages in the world, and that makes it pretty easy for us to use it in all sorts of situations without really appreciating how awkward it is to learn for anyone else.
Leicester Square?
Leicester Square? What do you mean Leicester Square?
Yet, lots of other countries do strive to speak at least a little English, but we Brits aren't always as enthused about learning new languages. So whenever we head to foreign shores, we're often outrageously unprepared for even the most basic of conversations.
Apparently, in their country, this means something quite rude.
Well, I mean, would you really consider that to be a British stereotype? Granted, obviously I'm not British, so I don't know how other people perceive, you guys when you travel to another country or whatever. But as a whole, I would just think that would be a stereotype of most English-speaking countries. I think we do have it lucky if we're English from an English-speaking country. We do have it lucky when we travel to other countries. Even when I traveled throughout Asia, most areas have, signs and things like that in English and their local language. And you can usually find, locals that will speak at least some English. We're just lucky like that, But, one thing to consider is that most people from a foreign country that learn English, a lot of times it's because they're going to be eventually going to a country that is English speaking. But let's say you're from the UK. There are if you were to go to France, then you would be expected to learn French. If you go to Germany, you're expected to learn German. If you were to go to Italy, you're expected to learn Italian. If you go to Japan, you're expected to learn Japanese. So it's you can't be expected to learn all those languages if you're only going for a vacation or for a small trip. Now, if you were to plan on going for many, many months to years or even moving somewhere like that, then obviously you'd want to learn the language. But I don't know. I just don't really quite get that being a stereotype necessarily of British people, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, let's continue.
So we had to get out of the restaurant pretty sharpish.
The Brits abroad stereotype isn't always fair, but there can be a tendency to slowly shout disjointed but otherwise unchanged English at any non-English speaker. FYI, it's not helping anyone. Number 4. Rampant sarcasm.
Dude, yes, this would have been one that if I was thinking, I would have definitely mentioned. This is one that I definitely have in my head now. It is well known that British people love their sarcasm, or at least it is a stereotype. Supposedly, I haven't looked at a ton of British comedy. I've looked at a little bit over the years or whatever, but as a whole, from what I understand, that a lot of British comedy is based around sarcasm. and supposedly, when someone really likes someone, a lot of times they'll be very sarcastic with them. And that's the way British people express fondness for others. That's what I've heard. That's like a stereotype that's in my head. I don't know why I didn't think about that. Probably I'm so tired. I probably only had, 8 hours sleep over the last 4 days. I have not been sleeping very much lately. So my brain's not working as quickly as I would like. But anyways, guys, I can't believe I forgot about that one. That's one I would definitely think of. Anyway, let's continue.
See the past, the present, and the future.
Tough gig.
Stop being sarcastic.
The Brits are known for their quick wit, wisecracks, and just generally being a bloody funny bunch. And if there's one thing we're especially associated with, it is sarcasm. Glorious, relentless sarcasm.
A little more. Would you prefer to drink it straight from the bottle?
It's arguably not only a trait of British people, but you'll definitely hear it coming from us more than most. In fact, visitors to the UK often seem to suspect it in every other sentence we say. It's probably closely linked to the stiff upper lip stereotype, with sarcasm enabling us to make light of a bad situation, turning trying times
that's a
into
good
something
thing
to smile about. That doesn't make it any easier to detect, though.
Maybe if everyone who'd ever been close to you had died, you'd be sarcastic too.
Yes, that makes sense.
Number 3, pub pride.
Go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
You might think that British people drink a lot, though that's not necessarily true. But what probably is true is that we really like hanging out in pubs.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's another one that obviously I've had in my head at some point, but I didn't think about. But yeah, it's true. When I think about British people, I don't really know if that's true. I mean, he's saying it's true, but in my head, I just picture that the average British person loves to go to the pub. And they may not even necessarily be drinking or maybe not drinking much. It's more like they're just going there to socialize and hang out. That's kind of what I have in my head. But I can't believe that's another one that I didn't even remember that. Yeah, that's something I definitely have in mind when I think of British people.
And who can blame us? Because you'll never truly understand the ups, downs, and day-to-day delights of community spirit until you've stopped in at a proper local public house. One where you know the landlord, you've got your own favourite table, you can watch a game, meet your friends, and generally chew the fat with other regulars. These places become a home from home, and everyone has their favourite, from the dog and duck to the ever-reliable red lion.
Pint of lager, please, Mary. Right, you are, mate, love.
Number 2, polite.
Yeah, I mean, back from where I'm from, I had, we would just call it a bar, but it's kind of a pub, served food and things like that. But one that I enjoyed going to. When I was growing up, my dad actually owned a bar that was sort of like what I would consider to be a pub. He died when I was pretty young, but I started working there when I was 12 years old. And so I grew up kind of in a bar / pub environment a little bit through my early teen years and stuff. But yeah. Anyways, I can't believe I forgot that one. I don't have any pubs really nearby. There's a couple of small bars, but it's just not the same as kind of what I understand. A place that's kind of more, not so much about just getting drunk. It's also about hanging out, watching a game, eating some food and things like that as well. But anyways, let's continue.
Conversation.
I do enjoy these chats in the morning.
Not only do we Brits seem to value politeness and manners above most things, and sorry, but we do have a habit of apologising for everything, but we're also all out pros at polite conversation. We don't always want to make small talk with strangers at the bus stop, but sometimes it's inevitable, and eventually it gets awkward.
I'm British and charming, and she's got certain angles that work for her.
Really?
But once tried and tested topics like the weather and the various pitfalls of our public transport services run dry, we're often too concerned about coming across as rude to end it there.
I don't know, I think it's been in the comments or something, I've heard British people mention that, that they don't want to upset someone. They don't want to, is it more of don't want to be the center of attention? I don't know what it is. If it's that, I'm kind of like that, I mean, it took me a long time to even start this YouTube channel because I'm like, I'm not really the type of person that generally gravitates towards wanting to be the center of attention. You know, like I don't know. I'm kind of, I think I'm kind of like that, like what he's describing there too. I'm generally like, I'm very, I don't know, how would you describe that? I'm just very friendly to to your everyday person that I meet. You know, I don't know. I'm not really someone that just runs into someone like, hey, what's going on, to strangers usually. But if they start talking to me, I'm generally very friendly. So I can understand that. And I absolutely love that type of personality. I love friendly people, kind people, friendly people, good-natured people. I just love that. And, yeah, I don't know if you can tell by my personality that that's the type of personality I really enjoy a lot. But I love just really nice people. It's, I mean, who doesn't, I guess, right? Nice people, they, positive people, they uplift your spirit. So like, why wouldn't you love nice people and, people that will have nice conversations with you? But anyway, let's continue.
Walk away. So we wind up talking and talking and talking.
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine.
Number 1, class obsession.
I am a highly desirable private residence in an area of outstanding natural property values.
From rags to riches to the manor born, Britain is tightly bound together by at least one thing. It's obsessed with its class system. So much so that there are reportedly 7 separate so-called classes across the UK now.
Really? Now, I wonder if, well, I'll just let him continue, but like, I didn't know that.
Who knew? Well,
me,
obviously.
Your accent just came out! Eh? His accent just came out, you all heard it!
It's said that your cultural interests can affect which class you're in, including your weekly shopping habits, favourite supermarkets, and leisure choices.
Okay, I mean, I guess that's true. It's like, I mean, I think of like, there's certain people that like, I don't know, like, like he brought up grocery stores. Certain people will like, shop like the cheapest food, don't really care what they're eating at all. And then there's the other group that will go to Whole Foods and spend a ton of money and, to be very, very cautious with what they're eating. And then there's, different levels in between there. And I mean, would that be considered different classes? I just assumed that was just preference. I don't know.
Class seems an everyday and unavoidable aspect of British society, which isn't always the best thing for us. But it does make for great comedy routines, diverse music, and creative, unpredictable film and TV. So, there is something for everyone.
Oh, I haven't got time to sit here talking nonsense with you in this bugger house. I'm off!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch.
I don't know. I mean, I do agree with a few of these. The middle few, like there were definitely I knew you guys were sarcastic, or at least that's a stereotype I have in my head. I had a stereotype that you guys love pubs. What was that next one? Oh, polite. I don't know. I don't know if that was a stereotype I had in my head. I think British people tend to be, polite. I didn't know it was like an actual stereotype though. So I don't know. But this last one here, class system, I don't know anything about that. Like, I mean, I guess I can kind of see what that means. I mean, like if you were to look at like, for example, if you were to like look at, this woman, I would have, there's certain things that I would think about her that would probably, my brain would go to place her in a certain class of people. And then I would see this guy and be like, yeah, he's in a different class of people just based off the clothing. It doesn't, and I don't know exactly what you guys would mean by that. And like, here we go. Another class right here. This is like, this guy's like, would class be like one class, the working class? This is what I would picture. He's the working class. This, I don't know what you call it, but the upper class, I don't personally think you guys are probably judging other classes based off of the fact they're in different classes. I think you just kind of see certain traits about people. Is that what it is? You see certain traits about people, and then you can kind of associate certain things with them that places them in a certain grouping of people. Is that basically what that means? I don't really know, but that's interesting. I'd like to look into that. So he says that's like, some people will say there's like 7 different classes. So if anyone has a video to share about the British class system, if that is actually a thing in modern day, please do so in the comments. Hopefully I'll see it, because I would absolutely love to be able to, see that. Check that out. That's very interesting to me. Completely new. But yeah, guys, I really enjoyed this. I learned a few new things, and yeah. So anyways, guys, please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or others. And don't forget to subscribe to continue to follow me in my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.